Okay, so what is up guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we want to talk about the GVM 800D Mark II. That is this double pair of LED panel lights that you can get for around $240 right now before tax. But I believe if you have Amazon Prime and you use the Amazon link in the description below, you can actually get this for $30 off right now. So today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this lights and what I think they're probably going to be best for when it comes to applications and uses in your studio setup. Let's get into it. Now, the entire light, the 800D Mark II, the two panels, the stands, and the power bricks came inside of this box. It's a really nice box that's actually looking a little smaller now that I look at it, but it actually contained everything without any issues, which is actually some really impressive stuff. When you open up this box, the first things that you're going to see are going to be three long looking things. The first two are going to be two suede packaged inside nylons that are going to house the actual light stands that you're going to use for the LED lights. The other one is a black box that when you remove the contents of the black box, you're going to see the two power bricks for both lights. When you open the demarcation from the box, then you're going to get the LED panel lights really nicely packaged inside another set of suede bags, which is really impressive. And that's pretty much everything you get in the box besides the manual, which actually tells you, everything there is to know about the lights, the functionalities, everything you can do with it and stuff like that. And it actually gives you instructions about the app, which we're going to talk about later on in the video. So my favorite thing about lights like this is the fact that you can actually use them with a power brick plugged into a wall if you're in a studio space like this where you actually have access to electricity, or you can use Sony MPF batteries on the back like so. Now, of course, you have to use two at the same time to make this work with Sony MPF batteries. And if you don't know what Sony MPF batteries look like, they come in different sizes, like this tiny ones and this really large ones. Whichever one is fine, honestly. MPF 750, 950, whatever, they all work as long as you have two of them in at the same time. Now, one of the really neat feature that these types of lights have that I really like and appreciate is the fact that they have this very neat mode where, for example, where I switch this to master and I switch this to slave mode, I can essentially control both lights from one light. So as you can see right now, everything I'm changing over here is changing over here as well, because this light essentially now becomes the controller for both lights. That is assuming you don't want to control the lights with the app, which you can actually download, the GVM LED app, which lets you control this over Bluetooth. You can have it on your iPad, your iPhone, your Android phone, whatever the case. There is also the fact that these lights actually have a bunch of channels. So essentially you can have multiple units of this. So for example, there are sets of this that actually come in 3 LED panel sets. You can buy a bunch of those and have them all around your studio, and you can set them to the same channel so that you can control them from one single light, or you can use them on different channels so that they can be independent from one another, which is actually really impressive for lights that are actually this affordable. Now, moving away from the modes on the back of the lights, let's actually talk about the lighting itself. Now, this light is actually also bicolor, so it's capable of shooting 5600K like this is right now, and you can go all the way down to 3200K, which is tungsten, which is going to be really great for people who want to, mix color temperatures for their videos or their photos or their creative uses. You're able to do that with this light. And speaking of the knobs on the back of the light, the one on the left is basically going to always be controlling the brightness of the light, while the one on the right is essentially going to be controlling the modes, the scenes, the color temperature, the color hue if you're in RGB mode, and things like that. One of my favorite things about this light that I really liked when I was unboxing it is that I actually realized that they added some diffusion straight out of the box, so you don't have to actually worry too much about diffusing this, and you can just leave that on. Honestly, I see no reason why you should be taking off the diffusion on your light. It's really helpful and it actually does the job. Now, like I said before, we're going to talk about the app later on in the video, and now is when we're going to talk about the app. Setting this up to work with the app is actually really easy. All you're going to have to do is switch the mode to app on the back of the light that you want to use, and you pretty much have everything right there in the app. Now, I'm currently using my iPad. Of course, you can use your phone, which is probably going to be easier for you. And you pretty much have the entire EU, as you can see right now on this light in front of me. And everything is pretty straightforward. You can control the channels and stuff from here as well. And you can have multiple units of this and quickly switch between controlling them, as I have switched from controlling this one to controlling this one just now, and it has no problems. There's also scenes. So as you can see behind me, I need to probably increase the brightness of that so that you can see it. Now, there are some scenes that are stored into the app that you can use. For example, the cop car scene, which you can use if you're doing a short film and you need to simulate the look of a cop car. That's going to help, but I'm going to turn that off because I don't want to mess with people who are epileptic. Now, moving from that, you have things like lightning, which can be helpful if you're trying to, shoot a scene where it looks like there's rain outside and stuff. That's going to be very helpful. You have candlelight, which is very, very useful. You have television, so you can essentially put this in front of somebody's face, reduce the brightness just enough so that it looks like an actor or an actress is actually watching TV. You can simulate parties. So if maybe you want to make it look like there's a rave going on or something, and you want to change the speed of the cycle, you can do that as well. You can pretend that this is paparazzi, camera flashes and things like that. You can pretend it's a disco. You can pretend you have a bad bulb that's constantly flickering, which is actually really, really impressive. I haven't really used this light with the app much because honestly, most of the stuff I want to do, I can very easily just do them using the controls on the back of the light. It's pretty straightforward, and it's not as if it's anything complicated that it stresses you out enough for you to need to use your phone or your app to control this light. It's actually really intuitive off the back of the light. Now, that about concludes everything about the features and the functionalities of this light. So let's talk about the feature proposition, the price, and whether this is worth your money. For $240 or significantly less if you're somebody who has Amazon Prime, you're going to get 2 light stands, 2 LED panels that go full RGB or bicolor if you want to use them that way, and you're going to get the power bricks and everything with an app that you can use to control on any phone, any tablet, or anything like that. That to me is pretty impressive. At that price, it's almost a steal. I've reviewed LED panels on this channel before. They were more expensive than this and they did not have as many features as this one does. Although I should point out that personally, I would never buy this light to use for my main key light for my videos because they simply just won't work. I could use them if this is all I could afford, but if I had a choice and I could decide, I'll probably still continue to choose a COB light or panel light that's slightly larger because I think because of the size of this light and the beads, and also the fact that these beads are not as close together. They only have 168 for the bicolor and about 86, if I'm not remembering correctly, about 86 beats for the LED. If you try to point this to somebody's face, it actually leaves, especially when you try to control the light with the band doors, it actually leaves some patterns that don't really look very great. So for key lights, this is probably not what I would personally use as my main choice. But if you just need something to use as a background light, just, to splash some color of RGB on the background of your videos and your footages. For the price, the GVM 800D from Great Video Maker is going to give you 2 LED lights, 2 light stands, the power bricks that you need. Batteries are not included, so if you need Sony MPF batteries, you're going to have to buy that yourself. And I think for that price, it's actually a really, really decent proposition. I think if you're in the market for an LED panel or a pair of LED panels that pretty much do everything except work as your key light for video shooting, I would absolutely recommend this. Also, if you're a starter on YouTube, it's your first set of lights. You just need lights that are going to help your video look better, so you're not constantly waiting on sunlight or your videos are not looking muddy when you're shooting at night with the lamp next to your desk. This is absolutely an upgrade for you. That is pretty much all my thoughts about the GVM 800D Mark II. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I will see you on another video that was shot by Kagan. Peace.